here we are, down at the bottom left-hand corner of the map in Entombed Valley. We have our blue Protoss player from Team SCV Live trying to pick things up right where Revival had left off before. It is Cyrano. And his opponent up in the top right-hand corner from Acer, winner of the last game and trying to tie things up for her team. It's our purple Zerg player, Scarlett.
Yep. That's right. So ZVP on Entombed Valley can be a little bit difficult for the Zerg player. Your third is a bit in an awkward location. You've got rocks on the high ground that are tough to break through early in the game. And, you know, your third is just a little bit separated, too. You know, Protoss can get in there, force field it off pretty easily and do some serious damage here. That hasn't stopped Zergs, though, from taking that third base location, even sometimes as their natural, if need be, against Protoss. And honestly, you know, I feel like we've seen Zergs get better and better at dealing with this map every time we watch it. So, you know, what is still, I would say, definitely a Protoss-favored map is getting to the point where Zergs can feel, you know, at least a little bit comfortable on it. So we'll have to see. I mean, Scarlett, if she loses this game, Acer's going to go down 2-4, and that's going to be a really bad situation. So still a lot of pressure again on her to win this one.
Now, I've noticed that in CVP on this map, the trend has been to get more and more passive just over and over again, just more passive and more passive and more passive. Certainly, you can execute a very strong two-base attack, and oh, look at that. Scarlett actually going to hatch first against a Protoss player here on Entombed Valley.
Wow, that is bold.
It is extremely bold.
Especially with Cyrano getting his forge first.
You know, we were talking about who will greet each other the most, but the point I was going to make was that, you know, we saw Protoss players saying, it's really easy to go ahead and save up for a quick third base. It's really easy. Yes, we're going to see Cyrano jump back here behind the middle line, at the very least, try and pull some probes off the line. This is actually,
the thing is, this is actually a great cannon map, honestly, for Protoss. You can really block yourself in easily with a couple pylons back there. So if he gets the opportunity, I'm sure he's thinking about it. He may decide to try to cannon this.
And but anyway, so Protoss players were going for quick thirds, and then they were winning the macro war against Zerg players, and then Zerg players were like, well, you know, I can just kind of sit back and go to Tier 3 tech really quick and let you kill yourself on me.
Yeah.
And then we started to see games that became a little bit exacerbated. I mean, we had Fight Club this weekend between, or this Monday, I should say, between Coca and Squirtle. In the game on Entombed Valley, it was only 20, 24 minutes, something like that, but they went to 9 bases almost as soon as the game started.
Yeah, that's the other way that we've seen it kind of go. Protoss is, instead of trying to do like 2 base timings to take advantage of the base layout, just say, all right, I know that I can take 3 really safe bases, and then from there, you know, try to take a 4th. That forces Zerg to be very aggressive with their expanding as well. They have to take a 4th and a 5th then really quickly, and it does kind of escalate really, really fast. So Cyrano stealing a couple minerals there, and we may see a pylon go down right at the end. Even though there are 2 Zerglings, it still does delay a little bit, but looks like he's just going to... are we going to see a pylon? Yep, there it is.
Yep.
Kind of nice to just get that down there just to be annoying for a little bit longer.
Yep, and Scarlett is able to successfully pull off the hatch first, though, I have to say.
Yeah.
Didn't take any cannon harassment. Cyrano just kind of going with his plan back at home. Decided to put down that Nexus and has double gassed, so it'll be really telling to see what his next couple of structures are and how quickly he gets gas 3 and 4.
Yep, that's right. Good old PVZ. So the thing is, too, is that I feel like we don't see a lot of Protoss players interested in punishing the hatch first, to the extent that I've even asked a couple pro Zerg players. I'm like, well, how do you feel about hatch first in ZVP right now? Because it doesn't seem like Protoss players are really interested in punishing it, even if they could. And the thing is, too, is that even if you do try to cannon someone, Zerg players know exactly how many drones they need to pull, you know, to do specific damage to different pylons at different stages of building. You know, for instance, if it's under half health, you can usually DPS it down with 3 drones. If it's over half, you bring 4. You know, pro players know all this too, so they're not quite as afraid as they used to be. But it's going to be really interesting to see if we end up seeing more hatch firsting in CVP.
And Scarlett going ahead and throwing down double gas. As we see back on Cyrano's side, though, it is a Stargate. So opening with Stargate play, not taking gas 3 and 4 quite yet, though. So he will be able to build up quite a few additional resources. So this may just be 1 Void Ray, maybe 2 Void Rays with 4 or 5 gates alongside it and trying to make a big push. He could also use this as a way to take a third base, and there it is. Yep. The third base is coming up. So.
Yeah, third bases are pretty popular, I've heard. Protoss players like them.
They're pretty good.
might get surrounded here. The Zealot definitely doing his job as well. And wow, looks like Cyrano will actually escape with his Stalker, just leaving the Zealot behind.
Yep, that's right. And Scarlett with good control actually doesn't lose any units there. So let's actually take a look at how many workers she has out. 39 workers, 42 workers for now, with 5 more on the way. Going over to double evolution chambers for now, though. And a 4th gas. No Roach tech, no layer tech quite yet.
Yeah, double Evo. Now, some Zerg players have been kind of playing around with this, just going with mass amounts of speedlings to stay safe in the early game. With the prevalence of Colossus play right now from Protoss, it hasn't become quite as popular, just because if they get Colossus out, suddenly your speedlings aren't that great. But going for large amounts of Zerglings, later following it up with Infestors, and then also adding a Baneling nest on too, so that once you take out their sentries, you can kind of just run everything over with Speedling, Baneling, is something that's been, become a little bit more trendy to do in the matchup. So I wonder if we're going to see Scarlett kind of move in that direction.
Uh-oh, and Scarlett's very close to catching a bunch of probes out in the middle of the map, so
yeah.
Not able to get that done, but was pretty close there. Gateway starting to turn into warp gates at the moment. It looks like it is just 3 for now, with the robotics facility coming up and continued Stargate production, as our first Phoenix did just hit the field.
Yep, he can keep that map control with the Protoss air units, and then if he wants to move into Colossus production, we'll have to see how dedicated he wants to be to that Zergling speed. Just kicking in right now, and 1-1 is on the way. Gas is 5 and 6 on the way as well for Acer.Scarlett, and we're going to have to see what she puts down once that lair is done. Could be a Spire, but all indications seem to kind of point towards an infestation pit at this time.
This is still so risky. I mean, she would have to make a ton of Zerglings if any sort of pressure was coming out, but I guess once she saw that there was the 3rd base coming up very quickly for Cyrano, gave her the confidence she needed to just kind of power ahead to upper tech, and as we can see, Infestation Pit and Roach Warren at the same time coming up now. This hatchery unfortunately getting put up directly underneath the Void Ray, which will use that to charge up, and it's going to have to be canceled here soon.
That's right, and she doesn't leave it canceled, but the Void Ray, he could have kept poking it, but I suppose he just wants to keep that Void Ray alive a little bit longer. I mean, the time is kind of ending soon where that Void Ray out on the map will really be helpful. He knows that there's probably going to be units out at some point in this game that are going to let Scarlett take back that map control, but at that point, you wanted to just kind of leave that hatchery on low health rather than just kill it outright, it looks like.
And so we can see a lot of upgrades coming up, though. That extra gas certainly coming in handy, and gas 7 and 8 already being started, sub 11-minute mark there. So Scarlett's certainly going to have quite a bit of gas income, but now she's got to defend this base once again. This hatchery taking a little bit of damage now, starting to focus down that queen as Zerglings cycle in now to deal with the Zealots, and it looks like they will be able to deal with them pretty effectively, especially with the Roaches there now too.
Pulled those Zealots a little bit too far back there. They didn't exactly get that sweet spot between the minerals, but you can see that now Zergs, with the way that Protoss have decided to start playing 3 base on this, are forced to try to take this really fast 4th base, and that's kind of where Protoss is aiming a lot of their aggression and harassment now, is at 4th base. And Scarlett's done a pretty good job of holding it so far.
Yeah, 8 Infestors popping up right away. So now, of course, the flip side of this is that Cyrano has been able to kind of do whatever he wants unchecked. We often talk about, Protoss players can sit back until they feel threatened and then start making big rounds of units.
Yep.
That's kind of the case of what we're seeing here now. Cyrano investing in his infrastructure. He's got a total of 7 gates up now with 1 robo, but his upgrades are pretty amazing. He's got +2 weapons. He's got all of his relevant Colossi upgrades coming online, Colossi themselves, Blink as well. So he is going to have a quite powerful army. But Scarlett, again, look at that. Double Spire, Hive Tech coming up. So Broodlords are going to be a very real threat here very soon.
Yep, I want to point out something at her 4th base as well. If you could please, Kevin, go back to the 4th base, scroll slightly down to the lower left. And there you go. Look at that spine crawler wall from Scarlett. It's not just the fact that she's making spine crawlers there, but it's the fact that she's making them in that manner, where that line of spine crawlers is just absolutely perfect. There was a Code A game last night where a Zerg player, I forget who it was off the top of my head, just kind of threw some spines down randomly and kind of this awkward reverse concave there. And when the attack finally came, Protoss was able to just easily move in and take out the spines no problem and fight in a good location. So if you're going to put spines down at your base on this map, do it like Scarlett does. It's absolutely the right way to put those down. It's a little thing, but it's something that you know, even at the pro level, we see a lot of people miss.
Look at that, and it's all the way across all 4 of the bases as well.
Yeah, that's
so
good.
very, very well done. Very cool stuff, too. Now, there is a pretty fair army here for Cyrano, starting to reinforce with additional Colossi as well, and going up to +3 weapons with a fleet beacon on the way. So eventually Mothership, possibly carriers in a bit, akin to what we saw Squirtle do against Coca. But from Scarlett at the moment, Hive Tech has finished. Greater Spire is on the way, and the first Corruptors are being produced. So very, very quickly, she is going to be sitting on a good number of Broodlords.
Yeah, this seems to be kind of going the same direction that we see a lot of the ZVPs go on this map right now, just very aggressive teching and expanding. And then, you know, Zerg's going into Infesterling Broodlord and Protoss going into Colossus tech generally, and then switching to Templar a little bit later on for, you know, feedbacks and things like that with the Mothership. And those Stalkers are just having a dance party.
Man, Jimmy Lake Stalkers right there.
Maybe throw
Anyway.
down like a piece of cardboard or something and start spinning on their heads.
I'd be okay with that,
awesome.
really. Honestly, I think that should be an upgrade.
Should be.
Cyrano taking bases number 4 and 5 at the same time. Scarlett taking her 5th base as well. And as we can see, units are being warped in right away to deal with that.
Yeah, and that hatchery may be in a bit of trouble. What are the upgrades on those Zealots? They are +2 attack, so not as strong as they could be, but strong enough it looks like. Yeah, forcing that cancel. The drone does stay alive, so that's kind of nice.
Staying alive right next to a bunch of Zealots. A
Drone's
Daredevil.
like, stop. Where'd it go?
And
Got out of Mineral Walk.
Mothership is coming up now, so Cyrano going to be on that late game army here pretty quick, although we don't have any Archons on the field. In fact, no High Templar at all, and he is basically maxed out. So Mothership is coming up, but Scarlett is producing her first 7 Broodlords right now.
Yep, and she's still got such a huge amount of speedlings that, you know, she can get a pretty decent surround on the army of Cyrano if he does decide to move out, even though he is pretty max. Oh, and I like that, getting lots of banelings. She knows that the sentry count is really, really low for Cyrano right now because he's been spending a lot of gas on Colossi, on Archons, and High Templar, and upgrades and things like that. So she knows she's going to be able to, with the Infestors, create potentially a pretty good engagement, and those are brave but stupid sentries.
Need more Archons,
well.
man. Or Zealots, apparently. Okay, a little surprised about that.
That's-
He's
that
warping
could be
them up
too.
at the top to drop in some units. That's why. Scarlett taking bases number 6 and 7, though. So it's 17.5 minutes. We do have 12 command structures on the field.
Not bad. So Scarlett, you know, will she decide to be aggressive, or will she decide to kind of sit back and just kind of secure her bases? Looks like she's going for it. Infestors in the front, though. That's dangerous. But here come the Banelings. Great fungal. Oh, the force fields barely stopping them, but not enough. The Banelings get in and annihilate everything. Wow.
That was incredibly well done. I bet you Cyrano wishes he had those couple of sentries back
No
that he sent
kidding,
forward to
yeah.
free up some supply, as those
Yeah.
force fields were not enough to ring the entire army, and
said it.
Scarlett could do some very real damage here. These Broodlords sitting above.
Yeah, if the Banelings weren't bad enough, now the Broodlords come in, and that 4th base is in serious trouble. Cyrano just saying, I give up, man. I'm just going to attack. And now he's turning around. He's like, I don't even know what to do. Scarlett chasing with a big blob of purple right now. A lot of speedlings. Oh, unfortunate. That Immortal just evaporated.
Yeah, they
man.
just pretty much exploded. Well, it's because these Zerglings are already 3/3 upgrades with the Adrenal Glands as well,
Yeah.
so they are incredibly high DPS.
Here we go. Infesterling coming in right now. A lot of cannons, but not enough. Those Infestors, or those Lings rather, are just kind of melting everything.
My God. This is working out so well for Scarlett at the moment. She's at a 67 supply advantage. She unfortunately did lose a base back in the top left-hand corner. Has to reseat those spine crawlers, but she should have plenty enough to deal with these Zealots.
Yeah, it shouldn't be too bad, honestly. A couple Lings coming out to help out. Nice block trapping the Zealots against the spine crawlers, and that is just fine. In the meantime, Scarlett tracking down the last of the Stalkers. They are trapped. Nowhere to blink now, huh?
This is like Last of the Mohicans, but with
but
less
you can
Daniel
recall.
Day-Lewis. Yes, and the recall does hit, and here's the rest of the forces for Shine, who is only sitting on 54 workers. So take the 17 supply of workers out of that, and he's pretty close in overall army supply.
Dude, that was such a sick recall by Cyrano.
Yeah, it
I
was.
thought those Stalkers were dead, man. I mean, he wanted to use that energy for Vortex.
Yes,
but
that's
good
it.
save, though, either way.
He's still going to have to wait another 75 seconds, though. And these are real seconds, not in-game seconds, because energy does accumulate a little bit slower than in-game time. So,
And Scarlett's not giving him any time, sieging up that main base area, already breaking into the natural expansion first, taking out pylons left and right.
Yeah, and now these structures up at the front are under fire, but we said it before. He had to use that recall so we could keep about 30 supply of army left alive.
It was worth it.
But now he doesn't have a Vortex, and unfortunately that's going to allow Scar to do just incredible amounts of damage up at the front.
Yeah, even with a Vortex, it would have been tough to handle this army after losing all those Stalkers. Scarlett kind of biding her time right now, and you know what? I mean, if she gets Cyrano pushed all the way back into his main base like this and kind of kills off the natural and the third while all this is going on, it's going to be pretty tough for Cyrano to come back no matter what he's got sitting up there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, 2 more Nexuses go down, and he's just sitting on 1 base. Even if he's warping in units, it just doesn't matter. It looks like this Void Ray does have 11 kills to its credit, but the Queen's going to be able to deal with it here in just a second, and Scarlett's still sitting comfortably on 4 bases.
Yep, that's right. Cyrano is going to be sitting uncomfortably on 1 fairly soon, I think. He's going to lose his 3rd base right about now, and he's going to lose his natural pretty soon after that. Oh, Scarlett actually thinking about moving into the main.
Yeah, it looks like she's going to go for it. So Fungling a couple of units up at the front, just trying to DPS down the mothership for now. Oh, and the Banlings rolling in behind as well, just slamming into everything. She can even just manually detonate those if they're cloaked.
Goodbye,
and still take those outs. And the last League Archons is falling, and it looks like Scarlett has just taken her 2nd game in a row, and she's tied things up for Team Acer.
Whoa. She's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good.
So that IPL